Good evening, Saints fans, and welcome to another edition here on Sports Talk with Rags. Here with Running with the Saints here, and we're talking Saints football here with head football coach Mike Biehl. And Mike, how you doing this evening?
Doing great. Just like we said a little bit off air, new week, new opportunity. Always good to come on and talk with you, though.
Yeah, well, thanks for your time, and hey, start of school, first first road trip, and it's I mean, even when you drive your personal car there to Roanoke, it's a long drive. I mean, so going to North Cross here this past Friday.
Yeah, you said it best. It's a heck of a trip. Your round trip 9 hours, and
Right.
you know, we have a bunch of guys on our team. We've got a roster of about 40 guys. I would say 20 or so have made that trip multiple times now, going into their junior senior year. But then you got half of the guys that have never made that trip, and it's like you alluded to, being in transit for that long is tough. You got to break the trip up. You got to do what you can to get them up and moving. And then when you get there, you really have to shake everything off and get ready to go. So yeah, it's a challenge, but we really don't make any excuses at all, because everything that transpired really went the way we thought it was going to go in terms of for the trip, what they were going to do offensively, what we thought they were going to do defensively. The sequence of events happened just exactly the way we thought it would, and we just didn't really execute that well. And when you're playing a team that talented, that experienced at a bunch of spots like they are, it's going to expose you. And that's what you have to pull from. You got to look at the film. You got to be honest. That's one of the things I said right after the game. Like, it starts with me. It starts with me. If we don't perform the way we're capable of performing, I have to look in the mirror first. That's always the first thing. But then, we got to make it incumbent upon our players to do the same thing. Like, we're going to put the film out. We're going to grade it. We're going to put comments on it. Go back and look at your process. Did you look at film? Did you look at the scouting report when you were in the game? Were you giving great effort? Were you playing with the technique you were taught? And if you can be honest with that, there's a bunch of stuff you can draw from and get better. And that's what we plan on doing.
Yeah, yes, and the thing is it's a long season, and no matter what sport you play, if the chips don't fall in our favor, it's turn the page. Today Monday, so after after school, it's back to practice, and
Mm-hmm.
you know work on what the team does and team needs to do, and focus on the opponent come this Friday.
I could not say it any better. And you know, like we said offline a little bit, we treat it real similarly to a college schedule in terms of bringing them in Monday and lifting them and running them and introducing the scouting report for that week. And a lot of times we'll break film down with them to give them an idea of what it's going to look like in terms on both sides of the ball of the next opponent. But like, when it's the first game and you have so many guys that are playing, really roles they haven't been in or played the volume of plays that they had to in that first opportunity, you got to go back and look at it and say, look, you're doing really good things here. You're misaligned by about 3 or 4 yards. That's the difference in making a play or not making a play. And we had a lot of instances of that in terms of, getting lined up defensively, our splits on the perimeter offensively, hitting our right depth on our right, like little things that turn into really big things that prevent you from making plays. It was really important for us to get that on film, to be able to look at it, constructively criticize and learn from it in an environment where, there's no finger pointing. It's just, hey man, we want you guys to play the best of your ability. These things have to be improved. It starts with me, goes to the coaches, and then right on down to the players. And I thought they responded really well. I think the thing with I think our generation of kids right now, they bounce back real quick. And
Right.
just like you said, it's a long season, and there's like a fine line between helping them understand like this game doesn't dictate what's going to happen next game. Like
Right.
we don't get any of North Cross's points on the scoreboard this week that we're going to have to battle back from. We're back to 0-0, but you also have to emphasize, man, you got 8 more opportunities that you're promised. So let's not allow one bad performance to turn into 2. Let's treat it for what it is, and it's one
Right.
opportunity that we got to go after.
Right. And the other thing is I mean, I guess we're showing our age, in a previous episode, talked about how, coaches would get together, and switch out films, but now with technology, I mean, the players, while they're at home, I know that school's in session and you got homework, but with technology, don't they even have homework to log into Huddle and get to know the playbook on their own here with technology?
Yeah, it's really Huddle does a great job. They make it as interactive as you can and as accessible as possible with our kids. I don't think I've seen a kid in the 9 years I've been at NSA not have their phone in their hand. So it's really easy to get that information to them via the Huddle app, and that's exactly what we do. We give them a old school, showing my age a little bit. I give them a paper scouting report that has everything they need in it, from scheme to player profiles to new installs that we're doing on both sides of the ball. But then I send them all that install stuff via Huddle. So like I can go in and look, hey, who's looked at the Huddle or who's looked
Oh.
at the install? Like it says person by person who's opened it, how much they've seen, what percentage. And those are things you got to illustrate in front of the team. Like, hey, man, this is the install from last week. This is how many guys opened it and looked at the whole thing. And that's how you hold people accountable. So it's a great tool. The other thing that I think sometimes players these days forget is that we can look at your huddle time of
Oh.
watching film. Like it says, Mark Ragsdale, 8 minutes. You're like,
Right.
8 minutes? You played 70 snaps and you watched 8. So like it's a tool, but it's also something that's just another thing you got to teach kids how to prepare. Like these aren't college football players, and a lot of them are coming from middle school football where none of that's available. So now that it is, you're like, hey, you got to treat yourself like the player you want to be and evaluate, look at the film, prepare, and that's all part of the process.
Right. Yeah, and and this Friday, I mean, it's on the road, but it's not as far, and it's only 460 to 258. But the great thing about private school football here in our area, I mean, it's no matter where you go, I mean, it's definitely supported well. And I definitely remember covering football games there in '07 or '08 for the paper, and going there for Isle of Wight Broadwater game,
Hmm.
and like we mentioned before, these kids, majority of them probably know each other outside of school, so it's definitely going to be somewhat of a neighborhood game here this Friday.
Oh, there's no doubt. And it's been, I think we alluded to it the last episode. It's been, I think, 5 years since we've been over there. And I've tried to paint the picture for our guys today because it's a different environment. It's much different than ours. And really, it's unique unto its own. And it's what makes it a cool place to go play. But the support that they get is
Yeah.
tremendous. Obviously, both communities know each other pretty well because of the proximity. But just like you said, most of our players have played against their players via Pop Warner in baseball, basketball. I mean, they're very familiar with each other, but that's what makes it a really cool opportunity to go down, 10, 15 minutes down the road and know it's going to be a great crowd. It's going to be a great environment. You got to feed off of it. And it's something, I feel like every time we've gone there, it's been memorable in terms of, man, electric atmosphere and something, I feel like these guys walk away from. That's one of the things they're going to point to when it's all said and done. Like, that was a really cool experience. And that's what we have coming up this Friday.
Yeah, and I know that Daniel Brown has his story there from Isle of Wight, and how he worked hard. Played at JMU. Played NFL, but like I texted you here before we got going. I mean, here NFL preseason games are done, and I think the final rosters are supposed to be set out by tomorrow afternoon. But pretty awesome to see Cole Christensen here. Still on the Chiefs roster, and just what success he's had here in such a small career, and a NSA alum.
Yeah, he's it's funny. Right when you texted me, I had the NFL Network on.
Okay.
They're playing the Bears, and he made probably 3 tackles in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. And I mean, it's,
Yeah.
again, we're really lucky to have an alum of our school that we can point to as an example of, I mean, if you want to do it, it's there for you. It's going to
Right.
take a tremendous amount of work. A lot has to go your way. You got to stay healthy, but if you want it, it's out there, and you can go get it from where we're at, because he's a shining example of that. But you're talking about, I mean, he's in the 1% of guys in the NFL at this point that are now vested. He's going to have a pension. Like, it's an unbelievable story.
Yeah, and the thing is with I mean, I know that there were college football games this past weekend, but everything's really gonna kick off here come Thursday. But Isaiah Furman there, that's off to Elon. I know that they were opening up at Duke, but I didn't realize that it was Friday night. So they're ACC network, and when George there at JMU, and then another alum here there at Virginia Tech, Griffin, is they're going to be in the Music City area playing Vanderbilt. And I think on the entertainment side, another NSA alum, Dan Marshall, gonna, so Saints alums are out there here in opening weekend of college football.
I kid you not. My feet hit the floor this morning, and the first thing I saw when I grabbed my phone was Elon's hype video going to Duke, and I texted Isaiah immediately. I said, "It's game week, buddy. This is what you worked for," and he got right back to me. And those are the fun things, about being at a program for as long as I have, and reaching out with these guys. Griffin Duggan's the same way. All those guys, they've got great opportunities. They worked extremely hard for them, and now they get to go cut it loose in front of a national audience. And that's just like I said before we got on air, that ACC network will be recorded. That'll be the first thing, when I get home, that I'm turning on, because I want to see what he does, because he's ready to go. So it's going to be great. Same with Griffin on Saturday.
Right. Yeah, and I think JMU, they play under the lights there on Saturday, but I think it's on the road. They're against UNC Charlotte, but it will definitely be interesting to see what how JMU utilizes George.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I plan on reaching out this week too, just to wish him luck, but also just get the inside from him, and what he's looking forward to. But he's another one that's, man, he's worked so hard for this opportunity. I know he's going to make the most of it.
Right. And then also, like we alluded to, last episode, I mean, yes, it's a road game, but then, you guys can kind of, somewhat catch your breath because there's a bye week here before the first home game.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And it's funny because, Isle of Wight's coming off of a performance that they're probably not real happy about, with opening with a really good Shores team as well. So it's really similar. Both teams are trying to turn the page and put their best foot forward. And I told our guys today, like, don't let their score fool you, because they will play their best football in front of their crowd. They will be real fired up, as they should be, to play at home. And you know, every week you have to walk in understanding that you're going to have to do the things necessary to go win a game, and this one's no different. But with the, like I said, with the atmosphere, with the crowd, with it being so close in proximity, like it's a special opportunity. So you have to prepare for it that way. And that's where, how are you pouring into your process? Are you coming to practice, or are you trying to get the most out of practice? And that's going to be kind of our battle cry going throughout the week, because I think, like you said before, first week of school last week, a lot of distractions, really long road trip, a lot of external factors that you can point to and wonder if they played a part in what our process was. But we can't make excuses. Like, it is what it is. Now you have a new opportunity. You got to make the most of it.
Yeah, and the thing is during off season and during the week leading up to the game. I mean, it's like, what do you put in to practice and to work on getting better? And then when the ball gets teed up there on Friday, I mean, all right, now it's time to go execute and have some fun.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And that was one of the things I told our guys. Chris Beatty is one of the guys that is my mentor, and somebody I point to is, somebody that gave me unbelievable insight when it came to coaching. And one of the things he told me a long time ago was, hey man, coaches lose games, players go win them. And I told that to my players, and I said, when we don't play to our level of expectation or what we were capable of, like, it will never be me pointing the finger at you. It'll be the thumb pointing at me. And when we go out and perform the kind of the way we did on Friday, that's the first thing I'm thinking of. How can we change practice up? What can we do to be more competitive? How can we speed things up and get more guys more engaged, so that when it is time to go cut it loose, they don't have to think about it? Because there was a lot of thinking going on Friday, and you can't play like that against a really good football team. And it'll be the same this week. So it, just like you said, like, I think we said it to end the last podcast, like, the week is my game. That is my time to treat it like a game, and the Friday should be their game, where they just go. And that's what we got to get back to, and really, hold each other accountable to say, hey, last week wasn't good enough. We know it wasn't. Do something about it.
Right, and then also, I mean, I know on schedule that this is a road game, but also with close proximity, I expect to hear how both sides both sides were filled. I mean, it's not going to be
Mhm.
far here for NSA fans that don't have kids on the team but want to come support the football team. It's definitely not a far ride. I should expect to hear the visitor side, have some fans.
Yeah, and there's so many instances, like you said, where we're going to Roanoke, or we're going to Fredericksburg, or even Charlottesville. There's not as many opportunities for our fans to travel where it's convenient like it is this week. And I know, our student section is going to make it a big deal. I know our parents, we had probably 50 or 60 parents in Roanoke this past weekend. So I expect that to be exponentially larger because of the proximity. And that's what makes it cool. That's what makes it special to go into a place where, you're outnumbered, but you still have your group of people there. supporting you right behind your bench and making their presence known. It's what makes high school football great, and private school football is no different. I told my guys the other day, like, I'm a little weird when it comes to playing on the road. I love playing in front of our fans. Being
Right.
at home, super convenient. You kind of control all the things logistically, and that makes it real comfortable. But there's something to be said about going into another place and kind of feeling that energy of, we don't want you to win, and using that to your advantage. And that's something I loved as a player. I love it as a coach, and there's no better atmosphere than this one that we're walking into, because you're going to feel it immediately. We're going to go pull in to that street, that long street that leads down to the school. We're going to go into the parking lot and pass the gate, and you're going to feel it immediately. The kids are going to be outside. The teachers will be outside. They'll be ready for us to be there, and you'll know where you're at really quick. And that's a really cool feeling.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And it's nothing like here going on the road and just playing y'all's game and stay focused and not worry about the extra noise.
Oh, there's no doubt. You kind of got to use it to your advantage. I distinctly remember, going on the road to Tallwood and having our entire student section there, but knowing, like, man, these guys really don't like us. Or going to Ocean Lakes, man, they like really don't like us. Hempsville, the whole deal. It's right up there in that same stratosphere of, like, wow, like, you're feeling it immediately. And it, like I said, it's something you have to use it to your advantage, and not get into it with their fans and not respond to anything you hear. You're going to hear people say one thing or another, but you just got to use it. And it's a really, I think it's one of those things that brings teams together when you all go into that type of atmosphere together, and you're looking at each other as you walk in. You're like, this is a little different, and you can only do it together. And man, it's just a great opportunity.
Right. Well, hey, Mike, definitely appreciate your time, and I know that for the players, and you and your coaching staff, I mean, I know that everybody wants to win, but hey, first game, let's see how we can get better. Let's work on some things. Let's turn the page, and now it's time for game number 2 here at the end of the week on Friday. So you guys have a good rest of the week of practice, and go Saints. So, all right. Well, thanks again.
I appreciate you guys.
Sure thing. Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, so that was there. Another episode here of NSA head football coach Mike Biehl, and as the Saints here get ready to play Isle of Wight Academy here this Friday night.